Good evening, and we are now here live. This is our first show on Blog Talk Radio, and Virginia Drake and I are going to be broadcasting. We're going to be calling this The World in the Now, so I hope you guys enjoy. Virginia, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing wonderful. How are you? I'm excited about tonight. I'm really excited
I am too.
Because all the things that's happened today.
I came home today and I walked in the door and I looked at the boys and I said, there's a pope that's resigned and a meteor just hit the earth. I said, there are some things happening. Are you feeling it?
Yeah, and we were just talking about with Jennifer Morgan. I was just talking about how the Vatican got struck by lightning. Now you tell me that's a coincidence? I don't think so.
Well, now that I didn't hear.
The Vatican got struck by lightning, and they have a lightning strike, and it's coming straight out, and I'm thinking, that's a big sign. You know, if we would just take the time and really just learn to feel this, you'll feel a lot of things that are being said. Today has been a tremendous day, but 3 days ago is when I started feeling it. My floors were going up and down. Now, today I felt like we had a gravitational pull of one part of me, and then there was a non-gravitational pull on the other. So I was constantly staying in just balance in me. So I can imagine how it felt with people who are really not aware, of what's going on. Didn't you feel that way some today?
Yeah, I did. I think you and I have been talking about the way the body has felt all day long, too, because I felt like...
Oh, wow.
I felt so expanded and just incredible, and I'm just like, I know there's a lot of things happening in the world, but it's not about what's going on outside here, it's what's going on inside here. So.
Oh my God! I've been teaching for 15 years, and I tell you, the more and the more I say it, but the richer it gets when I know it. And I'm just getting to where I'm reaping what I sowed, and I am really enjoying the peace that I have gotten with all of this. It's the inner pieces we're all looking for because of all the stuff that's going out. I mean, meteorites hitting Russia, asteroids flying, everything that we've ever seen in movies is coming, feeling like it's coming to fruition. And that's because that's all in our mind thoughts. We've been given those images for so many eons. Look at what's going on. I mean, we're creating what we've created. We are the creators of this.
Yeah, and there's so many things that we've been programmed to think. And I know you practice this and practicing through my own thoughts. Every time we go and set out somewhere, our mind automatically starts to restrain us back, and it starts to hold us back. And then so we have a difficulty even processing where we want to go, because as soon as we start to say we want to go in this direction, the mind already starts giving a million reasons why, how it's going to do it, or why it can't do it, or whatever. It's so cluttered, and that's what it means about being still and getting quiet inside of yourself, so that you know where to go.
Well, and that's a very good point. The mind is cluttered, and a long, long time ago, many centuries ago, we were very simple. And as we got more complex in our thinking, our system became more complex. It's so obvious what we've done, overlaying patterns of consciousness, and now we're into the complexity of what we all have created in a unit of thought. Now I want simplicity, and I've noticed as I have become more simpler, decluttering, letting go, not hanging on to old memories, and in fact, just literally letting go. I'm getting ready to look at all my pictures and let them go, because we have those already in our system. And if you're going to stay in the now, the moment, we have to learn the things that were really in the past need to stay in the past. We want to know those people or those as present as we can. And when the veil dropped for a while ago, I don't remember even when. I don't even know time much of anymore. But I remember feeling there's no more separation. We're getting ready all to come together, and that means the past, present, and future all going to streamline in oneness, because it does anyway.
Yeah. And how do you explain that to you? Because people get really hung up on that oneness, and they think that just totally dissipates who they are. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. It doesn't discount who you are as an individual. The individual is part of the whole. We are one.
On a human level either. See, this is where people have a real difficult time. they think we're talking on a human level. We are seeing everything from the soul level, and there is only oneness. There's only one frequency. There's only one tone. But, see, they still see it as individuals because they're in the vessels of difference, and that's how this was set up, so we would have polarity, and we'd have many facets of ourselves so we could learn to have that oneness of ourselves and compassion of self. That's how that works.
So we miss the flow of God, and the flow between all of us. And that's just interesting. And you know, it's you can see it every day and just feel it. And now it's like I just had an experience earlier. I was calling my friend Kyle because he's working on my car tomorrow, and I started to dial him and call. He picked up the phone. He says, "You did it again." And I'm like, "What did I do?" He's like, "You're calling me just as I'm text messaging you." I'm like, "Dude, that's because we're one."
and you feel it.
Yeah, we both feel each other, and we call it psychic or synchronicity or whatever, but we're all one.
Well, see, I think it really goes even deeper past the psyche. I don't, when we say psychic, I think that's a realm, but I think this goes deeper. I think it goes soul to soul because we are all one. And when I have noticed, when I have things that I need to do, and this is what I asked myself told myself many years ago is, please don't make me miss anything. I know it's of importance. Just make sure I'm prepared or, get my attention. Well, I think I told you this yesterday. I forgot totally I had a hair appointment. Totally. And it was like I was just sitting there, and about 11:16, in fact, I remember taking accountability of it. I thought, I'm supposed to do something. So I looked on my book, and sure enough, at 11:30, I had a hair appointment. I was still in my pajamas because I love staying in my pajamas when I'm not busy because I sit and meditate all day. And I jumped up, got myself together, got right over there because I'm only about 3 minutes away, and I laughed as I was going because my higher self was not going to let me ever, it's done it 2 or 3 times. You've got to trust it because that's the whole thing is trust it. Because it has saved my rear end so many times because I'm just sitting still and all of a sudden there'll be an image, then it'll bring you back to where you were. And then my book is sitting right in front of me because you've been to the house and you know where my coffee table is. And I immediately went to my book, and that's how you read it. I didn't have any words given to me. It was like the picture, book, opened it up there. Oh, and it was exactly 11:15. That's when you go like this. Hey, it's going to take care of you.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're talking about taking care of it. It's as well as I've been the one that's always trying to figure stuff out. As soon as I start coming with an idea, it's like my mind has to go in. Well, I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do. I said it's been a real challenge for me to still my mind during that, and that's actually how I wrote my book. I wrote it at my job, and I finally just got my mind still enough, and then my fingers started typing. Mm-hmm. And people think that that's mystical, but it's real. I don't really consider it to be mystical. It's just allowing it to happen.
It's allowing God to work through you. And that's the same way when I post on Facebook. Many a time I've been in a meditation, I literally get up, walk over to post. I don't know what I'm going to write. I don't know how I'm going to write, and I just allow it to come through. But what upsets me is it doesn't have as great a grammar as I do. And I go, where in the world did that come? But, it really doesn't matter.
Well,
because
we know
they will feel it. They feel those posts.
That's right. Well, we know where it goes with grammar with me.
You're the only one I know that can break the rules in publishing and English and everything and still have a successful book. My hats are off to you, Jeremy. I'm serious because you're a systems buster. You busted the system. And what a wonderful way to do it. We've got to get out of the words. We've got to get into the feelings. And, I think you and I know that on several of those places on Facebook, these people really shut down, but they think they're really awake. Yeah. And they're into their rules and their things that they think that they have to do. And, right. And the reality is that this is interesting. And whoever's out there listening or listening to this archive, I just want you to feel it just for a second. And feel the energy because in reality, we're talking right now and we're recording this.
and the people that are listening live are hearing it. But the people that are going to listen to this a month or a year from now or 5 years from now, you're actually listening to it at the same time as we're recording it, because there is no time and space, and we're all in this frequency of flow together. And so, and the reality is that our mind gives the rule of time, and then we put ourselves addicted and accountable to a time when there's divine time in divine order. And so we really get caught up with this, where it has to be or what has to be this way. And all of our rules limit our soul and box it into a box. And so it really holds us back.
And that's why people are angry, because they're boxed in. And who did it to themselves? Themselves.
They did. They did by
taking everybody else's belief systems. And I love it when you said that belief systems are BS. And they are. They're BS. They're made up by other people.
I heard that from a gentleman at the Course in Miracles work group I'm at, and he said, belief systems are BS. And I was like, whoa, that's the greatest thing in the world.
That is. That's so true, because they are. They're BS. And they're made up, and you don't even know if they're real or not, because you don't know if you were part of it or if you heard about it or if somebody else, third party, told you about it. You don't even know half the stuff. When you start sitting down and really meditating, and meditation to me is being still in the inner core, sitting, just being still and listening to what's going on in me. When I started listening in on myself, it was scary. It was absent. There's a lot of characterizations going on in there. There's a lot of plays going on in there. And then one day, when you really slide in and everything gets really quiet, then you know you have found peace.
Yeah.
And everything that everybody's looking for is that. And our intent tonight is just to provide peace. For me, for you, for the world, for the universe. Just peace. I mean, this isn't hard. And I really don't want to argue with anybody anymore, and neither do you, Jeremy. When we've experienced it, and when you truly have experienced it, there is nothing you can say but to the ones who have experienced it will get understanding. And it's not anybody's fault. I don't know when they're going to experience it. I don't know when that switches on, but I see it in my house all the time when people come for sessions. You'll see that switch, and then you know, and then they become hungry, like they're starving. And then they're in here, calling up, asking questions. That's when you get excited, because they know they have found the spirit of themselves, or the spirit of God. Or I don't know how you want to say it in words. They just have felt it.
Yeah. And everybody's looking for that. They're searching.
Yes.
And they're searching at all levels, and they're looking for it somewhere, and it's all within them. Every bit of it.
You're right, and every bit of it. You know, I think when I finally came in to really meditate, and when I really stilled my mind, that's when I stepped into what some people would call it is a metaphysics world. It's the world of Alice in Wonderland. I'm telling you, you walk right through that mirror, because I could walk through my mirror. It would melt just like and I could walk right through it. Now, naturally, I did not walk through with my body. My body had not learned to transform that, but I sure did with my soul and with my spirit. And I had some amazing experiences after my heart attack. It made me get quiet. It made me listen. That's why I said the grass talked, the bees talked, the trees talked. Everything was alive, but I was alive inside. That was, when you realize you're alive, and you really are alive, and somebody in there is really listening to you, and that's who you've been looking for outside all your life, it's always been inside. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
It's what the great masters talk about. It's what Buddha talks about. It's what Krishna talks about. It's what Jesus talked about. The kingdom is within. And that is the kingdom. The kingdom of God lives within thee.
Yep.
And
sorry, go ahead.
No, go right on.
I was just, because you and I have been discussing metaphysics quite a bit lately, that word. I just looked it up. Metaphysics is a traditional branch of philosophy concerned with explaining the fundamental nature of being in the world. Although this term is not easily defined, traditionally metaphysics attempts to answer two basic questions in the broadest possible terms. One, where is there? And two, what is it like? And this all comes from Plato and Socrates. It's metaphysics they were one of our very first.
Look what they've done to metaphysics, though.
Yes.
It's not the metaphysics that people are not practicing metaphysics that we know.
Right. And so
metaphysics, because Jesus was a great metaphysician, and he wasn't out, doing cards or doing readings or anything like that. He was walking in the metaphysical world, the world of invisibility.
Right, and so with
they really have taken that word and really switched it over to another kind of word.
Exactly, and that's Sir Francis Bacon and St. Francis of Assisi.
Oh, yes.
They were metaphysicians, and so
yes,
that's what I've been getting at with people is like metaphysics isn't what you think it is. It's the psychic, and even the people that do the tarot card readings, they have no idea where that came from.
No.
That there was a discipline that came with it because they were called the books of wisdom, and they weren't meant to tell you what's happening with your job or what's happening with your love life. They were meant to give you insight.
That's right, wisdom.
Right, and then the actual paintings were painted in a way to unlock something within you.
That's exactly.
And then there's actually an old book that I read called Moses Magic. And it was about, one of the things that practitioner says, use the Rider-Waite deck, and you can stare into each one of the pictures and get lost in it, and they will unlock something in you. But you can do it yourself in meditation. You can unlock yourself. You are the tarot deck.
Well, that's what I do when I do the mirror.
Yeah.
When we do mirror exercises, we're looking straight at our soul and watching it transform and move and everything. We can do that. Everybody can do that. It's just they got to get out of their mind to do it.
Yes.
Because they get so caught up in the form that they forget we're formless.
Yep.
The reason why we have form is because we believe in it.
Yep. You are not this body.
No,
you are more
and you're
than
not
this body.
of this earth. You're not in this earth. You're of this earth. You're not, you're not a part of it. You're here to experience it, but not to be attached to it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
this is how this is what gets us, right there. Everybody wants a relationship. Well, and I love Joel Goldsmith that he said, the minute you want something from somebody, the relationship has changed.
Yeah. That's what you and I were talking about earlier. I said, we could have a relationship.
Right.
You could get an intimate relationship today. And I said to somebody recently, I said, why don't we just enjoy the now of the moment with each other? And as long as we're enjoying the now of the moment with each other, we have a relationship.
You got a relationship.
Right. But that could change tomorrow. But what we're wanting to do is box that person into some
contract agreement,
contract or conception of codependency of how you're supposed to act, and how in heterosexual couples how the woman is supposed to act, how the man is supposed to act, and then in the gay community they try to act out that part as well, which is.
I know it's the same thing. It amazes me in the gay community. They look just like the heterosexuals. The thing they don't want to be, they act like.
Right.
And that amazes me because really, who are they?
Well,
who are the ones that are acting heterosexual? Who are they? Nobody knows who they are. They're just acting out these roles.
Right. Absolutely, they're acting out these stories.
But that's what metaphysics is about, too, because the metaphysics is what makes the whole event transparent, apparent.
Yeah. Yep.
And it is mystical, whatever. You do. It's like walking through into another world. And there is other worlds. And it just amazes me that people can't see this, can't experience this, but, some will not. And it for a long, long time, because what happened to me, because I had a miraculous healing and I did have what happened to me, I felt very obligated to tell and be almost crucified by people because they didn't see me, they couldn't hear me, and I kept pushing. And I pushed because I couldn't imagine they didn't want to see this. But, some people are not ready.
No. They're scared. They're scared. Well,
yeah.
then they also see things as judgment. They see, it's like you and I have experienced recently. We were speaking our truth, and people thought we were judging. And I was like, I was not judging.
When we're big lights and we stand up behind what we believe in because we've experienced it, first of all. And we're not trying to, but they still hear us from the human factor, Jeremy. They're not hearing us from the soulful factor. If they flip that around, and that's what's wrong with this world, it's upside down. Everything's being filtered through the ass and not through the mind and heart. So, and that's the truth. It's not being filtered correctly. So it's got to, and we as souls that are aware I think we're being pushed. And I feel a lot of that on Facebook, and when I'm talking to different groups, I feel they know they're being pushed. They just don't know where. And all they're being pushed to is to find themselves.
Mhm.
That's all.
Yeah. Yep. It's interesting. It really is
it's going to be interesting every day. Every day is interesting. I get up every morning and say, surprise me. This is like Christmas every day for me. And, for a while I was very concerned because I've been sitting on the corner of my couch, and you know how well I do that. And I'm sitting on the corner of my couch, and I'm out in the cosmos, and I'm sitting out in the cosmos. I'm very aware that I'm out there, and I'm just sending out these tones of beautiful colors and lights, and I'm saying, this is the call. If you hear it, please come forward. And I'm sending out my vibration. Because that's what I want. I want to meet my sisters and brothers and my lovers and all of that. I want to meet them, but I want to meet them without ego, without any judgment, with a no fear, totally pure thought, pure heart. Just see them for who they are. I don't care who they are. That's what I want to meet. Because they hold a piece of me as much as I hold a piece of them, just like I held a piece for you and you held a piece for me. And look how great that was. Our relationship alone could have been a disaster.
Yeah. I remember that first day.
Oh, honey, it took. Let me tell you, you were a beautiful mirror because I would, every time you'd say something to me that would be a little bit off color, a little bit, you just do a little bit, I'd go, remember, you were him. Because I was exactly you.
Yeah, I have a few people like that. I'm like,
And I couldn't have thought of anything better. What was it? I think the turning point for you and my relationship is when it was about the check.
Yes.
And it was about when and it was so cool how Spirit played that because I knew about it and I'd been told about how to handle it. And that night, you were going to pick me up the next day, I was laying in bed, and I saw who it was from and everything. And how I did it is the look on your face, Jeremy, I wish the hell I'd had a camera or a video. Because I said, okay, what about the check? And you went, like that. You just stared at me.
Well, remember, too, because we had you came to my house that night. And there was a lot to process here because my friend Sylvia Bogart, remember she wanted to take you home?
Yeah.
And you were at my house for a party. She wanted to take you home to Bradenton. And I didn't want to wait. I wanted to make sure somebody was taking you home because I remember I had to be back up at 6 o'clock in the morning to come and get you to be there at your place by like 8 because we had to be in Newport Richey by like 10 or 11.
I know.
And so I was exhausted, and you felt the cold coming over you or something, and you were like, who's congested in that house? And it showed you everything. And what it was, for you guys listening, is that she had taught a workshop back in November, and this is December, because she used to come to Florida in November, December, and usually April. And so in November we had her do a workshop, and everybody handed us checks. And we packed that coffee house. That was that's actually on YouTube if you guys want to see it. It's the Virginia Drake workshop shop at the Lamplight Group page on YouTube. But anyway, that was a great workshop. And then she handed us all, people handed me checks. And the one check they had wrote out to me as opposed to Virginia. And I had planned on, I told her about it, but then I was like, well, I need money for gas and da-da-da-da, and I didn't tell her I needed money for gas. And I lost the check. I could not find the check. And I couldn't find it for the entire month of December. And so then I found it the very night before I picked her up, and she said, and then I'll let her finish the story because she got in the car, and
well, my higher self said, hold him accountable, and just let him know you love him, and get the truth what the problem is, because if we're going to work together, that's what it felt. We had to trust one another, and I had to trust that he would tell me no matter what the deal was. So when I said it, and the look on your face was just precious. It was like, caught, And then I said, just tell me the truth. And you said, I needed the money for gas. I said, then that's what you should have told me. And I said, keep the check. But that's the way you do it in spirit. That is exactly the way. You don't scream, you don't yell. I knew if I waited, it would all, and that was in April, and you, like I said, that was all meant to happen, but look how great it turned out. Because you ended up teaching that night or that next day. You got up and told that story.
Well, and I want to add out there, just to throw out there for you guys that are listening, this is a story about being truthful and living in your truth. But I want to add one more thing on here that we didn't add, is that she said, now just so you know, I was planning on giving you $50, so you lost $10.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I forgot about that.
And I want to share that with you. And it's not about the money. It really wasn't about the money.
No, not at all.
And for me, I thought it was at the time. But the reality is that why would we hide anything from anybody? And each one of us, each one of you listening to this, including me, including Virginia, have all held back the truth at one time in their life because they didn't want to say it, because they felt like it was going to hurt somebody's feelings, or they didn't want to face whatever the conflict was, or whatever. What you're really not facing is the mirror inside of you. If you're afraid of a conflict with somebody else, then there's conflict within you, and that's what you're afraid to face.
Is that real? That part of yourself that you're always in struggle with. If you just learn to dance, every time I said, it's Beauty and the Beast. It's the story of Beauty and the Beast. You got to fall in love with your beast, and then you'll learn to dance. And then he turns into a beautiful prince or princess. Oh my God, it's Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. Yep.
I watch that all the time, and I love it when she looks at the beast, and she's so in love with the beast. And when he turns into a prince, she's even happier.
Yeah, and that's what happens to our beast within us.
Yes,
once we love it enough, because love is what changed him.
That's exactly.
And there's a new movie out. There's a new movie out called Warm Bodies about zombies, and it's about a girl that falls in love with a zombie, and her love and the love he has for her opens his heart up again, and he comes alive again. But we're walking zombies on this planet. So if we can find that love inside of ourselves and open up our heart, and not looking at the projection on the outside, and this was my big epiphany one day. This is really what shifted a lot for me. I realized I'm spending so much time looking at everything out here that I'm not paying attention to what's going on in here, inside of me. And so while I'm paying attention to what I want or desire out here, the inside of me is getting all ripped up. I was like, whoa. So that's the definition of thou shalt place no other gods before thee.
Exactly.
And so you're literally just you're paying getting more, and you are the big gigantic projector. I have a friend that's a movie producer out in Hollywood, and he you've heard his interview with Randy Rogers, and
that's right.
He has a great explanation about how the world is. You are the director of your film. And I took his analogy and I took it even deeper for me and made it my own. And I said, you are the projector of the film. So everything you are the movie projector. So
you're the light.
You're the light. So you projecting out here the movie that's happening all around you, this 3-dimensional movie, and you made the movie more important than the person watching it.
That's so true. That's good.
And so I'm like, what?
That's good.
So I was like, no, never again. And when I do fall into that, then I go, wait a second, you're making the movie more important.
That is exactly because, and then you've made other people even worse, more important than the producer, the actor, and everybody, the one who's in the movie anyway, that created the movie. You've made other people a lot more important than you.
Right.
So you really become a second, place actress or
in your own movie.
In your own movie, and you should be starring in it.
Yep.
I love that. Sometimes you can't even be a stand-in. You don't even get a chance to stand in. You're standing in the back going, what is going on out there?
Yeah, and think about that. If you're the producer that invests millions of dollars into this movie, and you're supposed to be the main actress in it, or actor, and then everybody pushes you out of the way into the corner, but you're not the one that speaks up.
And then yet you're the one who pays all the bills, pays all the trouble, all the misery and everything, and you're still not acting well.
And you're pissed as hell.
Yeah, and then you create the Greek myth of Hades.
You create hell on earth. And Jesus taught us the kingdom of heaven is within us.
And that's exactly what Plato, what Aristotle, what Socrates, if you go back to the great philosophers or the spiritual teachers, they say the same thing. I love it when everybody says, well, they say the same thing. Then why are we still talking foreign languages?
Yeah.
Why aren't we speaking the same language in spirit?
Yeah.
Why can't we look at one another and never have to say a word, just feel?
Yeah.
Because that's the day that I see that we will. Because when I crossed over, Jeremy, there was no words. There was no body. It was just communion of souls, of mixtures, and it almost feels fluid, but it's not. It's mist. And that's not even a word I can.
We have a caller.
Oh,
hold
absolutely.
on 1 second.
Oh.
Well, hello, caller. How are you?
Very good, thank you. My name is Hugh. I'm calling from Virginia.
Well, hi, Hugh from Virginia.
How are you today, Hugh?
Good. I just came across your show related to the new energies, and I'm fully empowered on my path, and I'm bringing in a whole new paradigm to bless mankind, bringing spirituality into global economics and combining it with unconditional love, making everything transparent, ethical, legal, moral, and forcing companies to be more responsible for their employees, their customers, the environment, and the community. And I'm particularly looking to empower women globally as well as indigenous peoples.
How wonderful.
Very wonderful.
It is. Did you get that in a vision, or how did you come about with that, Hugh?
It's a lifelong process, and if I may share my name, you can hear some interviews I've done and see other things on the Internet, including a copy of a letter from President Obama to me related to the economy and a very powerful poem titled Caring, Sharing, which is in the President Ronald Reagan Library, and a whole bunch of other things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Well, share with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
My name is Hugh, H-U-G-H, and the last name is Charlson, T like Tom, R-A-U-L-E-N as in Nancy, and the WordPress site is the active site, and on that site you'll find some interesting information related to economics and also some business strategies that I'm just releasing with my business partner. My last name also has global recognition in the food service field.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Hugh. We'll definitely check that out. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yes,
I mean,
and I also
what I want to see souls coming together. I'm hoping that we'll see things in such a much larger vision than what we are seeing now.
Well, on the WordPress site, hughcharleston.wordpress.com, you'll see a YouTube video my partner put on that site for me, too. We're currently interacting with an indigenous gentleman on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation who's desperately holding on to the traditions that have been passed down orally through thousands of years, and it's been corrupted by greed and graft on the reservation itself. And so we came across him, and we're just looking to have him hold on to that, because it's not the same if you lose that, or even if you have it passed on through video or books, as opposed to the grandmothers with the children sitting at her feet giving the oral things. And the Lakota language has different inflections that have different meanings in the words, so that really has to be learned from a very young age to fully comprehend that. So I hope that we'll be able to keep that for him, and also indigenous peoples all over. We all have to keep our heritages and then come together and from our different heritages share with one another and create and manifest a beautiful future for mankind through unconditional love.
I agree.
And
it can be done, but it's going to have to be done with no egos.
Yeah,
well, that's
to the heart.
Yeah, you have to start with yourself. Most people don't know it all starts with themselves. You have to learn how to love yourself, forgive yourself. And what I say simply is that you have to get out of your head and into your heart and ask the Creator, whoever you feel that may be, for divine guidance on a daily basis. And the other big keys that people seem to miss are to always be in gratitude, no matter what your circumstances. They may be horrible at times, but that may be because you have to learn some lessons. And then finally, not talk about things, take action, because that's truly where you learn from. And if you make a mistake, you don't repeat the same action. You just progress and try something new.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you definitely get in contact with me, because I'd like to talk to you more. And I
don't use email or anything. If you see my phone number, I do everything by phone. As a global visionary, it takes away from my creativity to play with a keyboard all day, doing emails and stuff. But I do have a web browser on my cell phone. I solely use it for informational purposes to browse the web. That's how I came across you on Blog Talk.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. Did you come across this by accident, or did you feel us, or did you feel the vibration?
That's a good question. I go through different things, and I let Spirit take me wherever, and here I am. So that's I
love that part, because that's exactly the truth. You'll be brought exactly where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there.
Yes.
And that's what we're really talking about here, is that if people could get into their heart and let Spirit guide them, the ego would be gone. Mm-hmm. There would be no ego. So
what I also tell people, too, is, because of so much distraction and pressure and all kinds of stuff, and, there's all kinds of meditations, I say, just get out into nature, because that's God's classroom. And your blood pressure will go down, and as you really start tuning into nature, looking at the beautiful flowers and everything that God has created, listening to the birds and what have you, you'll truly have your awareness heighten in a new way. And I'll share just a quick little story. I'm a senior citizen. I live in an independent apartment building, and for exercise, I walk around, laps around the building, and at the end of my walk, I reward myself and sit on a bench and just enjoy looking at the flowers and the trees and the clouds in the sky and listening to the birds. Back there in the summer, when I sat down, out of nowhere, a butterfly came and landed 3 feet in front of me. It was brown with orange and white markings on it, and it stayed for about 20 minutes periodically opening and closing its wings after I was trying to decide who's going to leave first, me or the butterfly. Well, the butterfly did move another 3 feet and landed on top of a dandelion and then opened its wings and left them open. That's when I started getting a message, and that was when things get rough or we have difficulties. Sometimes we go into a shell or close ourselves off. But if we will just open up and let go and let God when we can't handle things, how beautiful life can be. When I got up to walk away, I noticed my Bermuda shorts were brown with orange and white markings, the same colors as the butterfly.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful story, and that's how nature does speak to us. That's how Spirit speaks to us.
Yes, exactly.
What a beautiful, beautiful story. I felt that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate your call.
Well,
definitely, I wrote down your number. I'll be calling you.
Wonderful, and I'll continue listening. I hope I didn't take up too much.
No.
No, this is what it's all about, is getting people to start talking.
Yes,
absolutely.
And everybody has a story, and that's what we should be doing, is sharing.
Oh, absolutely. And sharing it openly and honestly, no matter what it is.
You know what, I actually just have to throw this out there. I think you and I have talked before through, I don't know what it was, but your story sounds so familiar to me. Maybe it's the soul I'm feeling.
Well, I go on a lot of different Blog Talk shows because I do have a big mission and vision I'm working on, and I'm still a little bit ahead of people, but as they awaken, I don't want them to go into a rage when they see how they've been victimized and jerked around by the elites, because that, again, is just coming to that.
Let me ask you a question. While you're on there, please explain to me who the elite are. When you say elite, I don't understand that. Well,
it's shadow people. It's people behind the scenes. There could be names that I'm not going to say names because I don't have the documentation to actually call it out, but if you Google or are familiar with the Bilderberger Hotel, that's where it all...
Okay, I'm familiar with all of those, but I just want to get it real clear when you're saying elite, because, see, I even go deeper than that.
Hmm?
I go into the ones who really, truly understand the esoterics of this world.
Right.
And they understand how it really works, because the 7 natural laws, how they have just absolutely did not inform any of us. And you're right, there's going to be a lot of people who will be very infiltrated or infuriated, because I was one of them. That happened about 10 years ago when I had a lot of experience, and I had a near-death experience. So, yes, I do understand what you're saying. But, the only way we can do this is
the most
to do it.
important thing is to keep in mind that we don't want to repeat history. That history, they say, repeat.
No.
But that's only because we allow it. When they allow them to control, conquer, and divide us, then they're winning. But when we can go to that place of unconditional love, when we can drop the racial baloney, when we come into our communities, embrace our differences, create entrepreneurial ventures that will bless one another through collaboration, there's no end to what can be done. And that's what I'm looking to put out there. It's, and especially, too, to really awaken people to their responsibilities as parents and grandparents. If you can get that young child and find that child's passion, get them around the dining room table. The way I grew up, we sat and discussed things without the TV or telephones. We weren't allowed to pay any attention to them until we were excused from the table. And find that child's passion and maybe start a home-based business. By the time that child is ready for college, the tuition may already be paid for instead of them going right into debt, or they may choose not to go to college because you've left a legacy and blessed them with something that will be with them for the rest of their lives that they'll just love.
But you know what? If we let those children find out how much they are loved from them inside out, then we won't have to teach them that, because they'll know that.
Exactly.
They'll know exactly what to do. When you teach them to honor their self and love themselves wholeheartedly, unconditionally, without judgment, because their gardens have been seeded with improper seeds.
Right.
And we clean that garden and that mind, then you change the world through those minds. But you do it through their souls and through their hearts.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's exactly. Well, I mean, and that's the way I feel. That's why I feel like I came back, and that's what I want to. I want to see that we can do this on such a different level.
Yeah,
we actually
and
guys, we have another caller.
Oh, well, it's been very nice, Hugh. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. God bless everyone.
Well, it's been very nice.
And this is a call from Tampa.
God bless everyone.
Hey,
Hello?
Jeremy.
Hey, who is this?
This is Donna.
Hey, Donna, how are you?
I'm fine. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, I think you have your computer going in the background. Hey, Donna, how are you?
I'm fine. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, I think you have your computer going in the background.
You do. You better turn off your yeah.
I have to write it down. You know who this is?
Yeah, Justin's
no, I
mom. It's Justin Duncan's mom, Virginia.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Fine.
How are
Thank
you? How are things? I heard. I saw that Justin's out line dancing right now.
Yes, he is.
So I see you're here in the call. Did you have a question for Virginia, or did you want to talk about something? Or?
Oh, no, I was just listening to your show. I think it's wonderful.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you were able to hear it. And Virginia is the one we stayed at Virginia's house, Justin and I, over the summer. So up in Kentucky.
Yes, you have a wonderful young man.
Thank you. I was just listening to your show. It's the first time I got to hear it, and I just wanted to say I think it's wonderful.
Well, thank you very much. And, this is what we are doing. It's just opening up the truth. That's all.
Yeah, definitely.
I
Well,
just
Donna, thank you so much. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon next time I come and pick Justin up.
Okay.
Well,
just
tell
want to let
Justin
you know I was listening. Okay.
All right. Love you.
Tell Justin I say hello.
Love you too.
All righty. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, wow.
Oh, my gosh, that was a great conversation with you as well as Justin's mom.
Yeah, look at all this cool stuff happening right now. It's all coming in. And this is actually, you guys that are listening, this is how it works. Energy fields, like Donna felt it, and Hugh felt it, and all of you out there are listening and feeling us, and it's just absolutely incredible. And this is, Virginia and I just came up with the suggestion of doing this show at 4:00 this afternoon.
Yes.
And we just felt it, and we've been talking about just having a show where the two of us are having our conversations that we have on the phone anyways. And
this is our conversations. This is truly our conversation.
Yeah, definitely. And the cool part about the blog talk or the conference calling is that other people can call in and join in and enjoy the conversation as well and grow from it. And that's really half the time, if we're looking at navigating through this world, why don't we do it by communing with each other and processing with each other in this world and getting ourselves in flow with each other? I think that's what we're all looking for in the first place, isn't it?
Right. And it is about flow. And, we've talked about that. It's not about money. It's about the flow, because abundance is flow. I mean, I have people who cook dinner for me. I have people who will bring me steaks. I'm really in the flow. I'm never without. And I have some beautiful, beautiful friends and clients, because most of my friends are my clients. And, that's what it's all about, Jeremy. It's fine. And I'm at a great deal of inner peace here.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And that's what it's about, is that peace. I remember the days I used to sit on the corner of my couch, and I have to go through a regimen of, right now I'm safe, right now I'm not hungry, right now I've got a roof over my head, right now I've got a car, right now I've got insurance, right now, and I'd have to go through that like hours on end to get my head to stop running out saying, "Oh my God, you're not going to have enough! Oh my God, you won't!" Because I remember the days I went to the grocery store and I told you I had money sitting in the bank, and I was afraid to spend money. But what wonderful stories! You know, I was blessed through that whole process of fear because I'd get demonstration every time. Every time.
I've been there myself.
Yes.
I'm just sitting here thinking about the day that I sat there and I was sitting in meditation and I was just complaining about everything and just upset about everything. And I hear, when have you ever went without anything? Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, I don't have what I'm complaining about right now. And I hear, when have you gone without food or clothes or a house or a place to live or anything like that? And I'm like, never. And then I just now I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm realizing like I'm having this conversation with Spirit. And God, by the way, guys, everybody out there can have a conversation with Spirit. It's not a special person thing. It's something we can all do. And so I'm having my conversation with God all day long, and I'll hear something, and my ego will go into this mind poison, and God will say very lovingly what I need to hear, and I'll go, thank you. Mm. And so I'm spending most of my day going, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I know.
So like Hugh was talking about with the birds, thank you. And but I've been doing that too. I've been in my community. I have bats that fly over at night.
I loved it when he said about the butterfly. I've had that happen. You've had that happen.
Yeah,
you know, where a butterfly just would talk to me. You know, but it might not say it in words. You don't have to say it in words, but you had an understanding. He immediately understood that you had to be open and let go and let God, and he's exactly right. That's why they always use the butterfly. You know, they had to go through the chrysalis first.
Yeah. Justin and I experienced that over and over and over again all summer long. I mean, I'm sure Justin will hear this show later on, but there's a story that he and I love about the alternator in the van. Do you remember that? And we were in Virginia Beach. Story. We were in Virginia Beach, and we were waiting for money to come in so we could go home. We get the money. We go to my favorite sushi place in Virginia, and here we are. We drive, and the battery light comes on the van. And I look down at my phone, and I just speak into AutoZone for the navigation system. And it takes us, and I see we've got another caller coming in, and I'm just going to wrap up the caller. I'll just wrap up this story real quick. And anyways, we get to the AutoZone. I end up with a gentleman that fixes it and gets everything done with it for $50 in 30 minutes right there. So let's bring our caller on. We got a few more minutes, and we'll bring our caller on. Well, hello, caller calling from a 502 area code. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Jeremy. How are you? This is Jennifer.
Hey,
Hi,
Jennifer.
How are you?
So how did you think the show's going so far?
Oh, I think it's great. I was listening to your other caller that called in, and I just think it's great that people can just chime in and give their, share their experiences. So
absolutely.
I'm relatively new at this, being, well, I guess really awake for a year. But, anyone who's on the spiritual path really isn't new at it, or else, they wouldn't be doing it. But
that's why it's not new age. It's really old age.
It's not new.
No, it's not.
And let me add, Jennifer, you've been doing this for eons.
Yes.
I'm sure I have.
And
I know you have, honey. I know you.
And my favorite saying that Virginia says, because people say we're all old souls, and she says, I don't know if that's a compliment. That means I've messed it up many times over.
That's the truth. That is not a compliment.
So I have to tell you that the dogs, we're getting towards the end of the show, and they're sitting here going, okay, I feel the energy, I feel the energy, I feel the energy, I feel the energy.
So Jennifer, tell us what you're going to share. What were you going to share with us?
Well, I just wanted to share, because there's a lot of people who listen who feel like they're relatively new at all this. And you're talking about how Spirit speaks to you, and we're all really one, we're all God as individual, but I think people a lot of times expect, when they hear that voice to be hearing, the thundering voice of God, of what you have in your head, but it's your own voice that you hear, and you have to learn to really shut your mind off and just go with it, because especially in our modern society, everyone, has 10 million things going through their heads, and, that little voice chimes in, and you want to second guess it. I don't need to, for instance, I had an experience where, I was told to go to a certain restaurant, and I this was after work, and I'm tired, I want to get a shower, and it says, no, you need to go here. And so, I could have easily just been like, that's my imagination talking, or, that's not it's not practical. I need to go home and, do what I need to do at home. But if you don't question it, you just do it, because you don't know what it is that you're going to be called to do. And in my case, it was just to go to a certain person sitting at this table and tell them that their prayers were heard. And, you don't know what that would mean to that other person if you had missed it. And say I just went home and got a shower. I don't know what that meant to that person, but imagine if it was something truly meaningful and I had missed that, the opportunity you would have missed. You don't know what your actions, the consequences of all your actions, so you need to just trust that voice and go with it.
Absolutely.
Amen. Because,
but it's your own voice. It's your own voice that you hear.
But the thing is because we can't believe that we're that large, we create other voices or other images, because we can't imagine that we could even be that large, that illuminating. So we fragment ourselves, too.
Absolutely. And, I had gotten some validation to this recently because I've been going to this group. And keep in mind, I've never really studied the Course in Miracles. But what I got out of it is this validation. We must surrender our ego. Mm-hmm. And really it's to the self. But when we say the self, people out there, because they know that we should be of service to others, and they're absolutely correct. But when we learn to love ourselves, the way we love ourselves is how we'll love others. So when we surrender our ego to the higher aspects of who we are, higher consciousness or God, then we don't bring the ego to the table anymore. We bring our heart, our compassion, our center to the table. And that's really what people are missing it, because they're giving it to the outside, and they forget about what's going on in the inside. They're paying more attention to the movie and not the director or the observer inside.
That's exactly. And may the God in you meet the God in me. That's what
Right.
God meant. He said, I set a table amongst your enemies. The worst enemies you have is your reflections until you make friends with them.
That's what namaste means. The divine in me honors the divine in you. So.
And every time you do that and transmute that, then it all comes back into one alignment again, not duality.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. This is incredible. You still with us, Jennifer?
I am. It's funny because we were just talking about this before the show about seeing a reflection of yourself and each other. I was telling Virginia that I had a rough morning at work today because I had a coworker that came and basically chewed me out for something that wasn't my own fault. So, at the time I was kind of blindsided, and and after the fact you're thinking, oh, I should have said this and I should have said that, to stand up for myself. But then, doing the practice that I do, I'm like, no, this is a lesson. I need to, what is this about? And, I need to let the past go. And so I would be fine for about 30 minutes, and then it would come back again. Oh, I should have said this and that and the other.
Oh yeah.
And I just had to laugh when I got home, and the whole way home I'm saying the Ho'oponopono prayer to this person. and at home I'm meditating, and I'm just I know. It's like you try to figure out what is this about.
Well, and I want to just hold off because we're down to our last minute of the show. So I wanted to put out there because Jennifer mentioned the Ho'oponopono prayer. In English, that is, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you.
I love you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Thank you.
Yeah, and so and you say that when you're upset with somebody, and you say it over and over again. But we're down to our last few seconds here, and I want to just thank everybody for listening and those who called in. And Jennifer, our third co-host tonight, and Hugh, our co-host, and Don, our co-host. And we just had a wonderful In the Flow show. And I don't know how often we're going to do these, but this was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.